What up? It's your boy KingTank, and in this video, I'm gonna be a little cringe because I'm gonna try to make it interesting a little bit, but I'm about to explain the instructions on how to play this game. Not just instructions, but everything you need to know about this game, everything that makes it fun, everything that makes it interesting, and how to play it overall. All right, so it's probably gonna be a lot of heavy lifting by the background music and by my wife because on the editing. Thanks, wifey. So let's get down to it. Welcome to Ego's Arena. Now, how you're gonna play this game? All you need is a couple simple things. You need a tactical board. It's all your pieces on there, whatever. Not really pieces, but it's just like little marks that show each of the characters or whatever. And you can label them, put the names under them, all that good stuff. And I'm gonna put the link to that in my description, as well as you can find that link in my server. Everything you need to play or whatever, you can find it all in my Discord server. So feel free to join that. Link is gonna also be in the description for that. But basically, all you need is tactical board. You need or you can use like ChatGPT. But as long as you have a way to roll the dice or whatever, that's all you need. You need that in tactical board. And then after that, you have to pick play. I mean, shoot, you can even play this solo. But both of you, but you pick characters. You decide how many you're gonna have, which is 1v1, 3v3, 5v5, full games. But then y'all use RNG to decide who goes first, who picks first. Coin flip, RNG bot, dice, whatever, who cares? You do that and then you figure out who goes first. So then how you win. Basically, there's only two ways to win right now that I have, but we have special modes over time that I'll create. And when I come up with those, I'll make videos on all of those, or maybe shorts for it. It doesn't really matter. I'll make whatever's needed for whatever comes. But basically, the way you determine who wins is either turn limit, basically who has the higher score in 20 turns wins, that type of thing. You turn limit, the number can change. It's not really that deep. Or a goal limit. First one to 3 goals, first one to 5. Those are the ways that those are the win conditions right now. And how you play, how you actually like deal with the interactions on the board is you use the stats and you roll a dice. So we have a list of stats covering everything that you'll need in a game. Everything, shooting, blocking, all that good stuff or whatnot. And the way that you interact with the stats is, I'll say which stats interact with what stats, but the way that they work is you do the stat versus the stat. Now, let me see. I'll explain why you need to win by at least 3 later on when I get to that part for the extra information. So these are the stats and how they impact each other. To ball control is versus stealing. So, to keep the ball control. So the way to take it is stealing. Those two counteract each other. Shooting and blocking for obvious reasons, because shooting, blocking, passing and stealing, because again, if you're trying to pass the ball, those can always be nabbed out of the air or off the floor or whatever. When they're in transit, they can be stolen. We have dribbling. The way to stop dribbling, the way to stop someone from dribbling, this doesn't take the ball. This just stops them from being able to go anywhere. They're kind of like stuck where they are unless they go back or they get some help from someone else. But the way to stop dribbling is pressure. Your defensive pressure would determine whether somebody can keep going or not. And I'll also add later on, I'll explain, what happens if you have 2 or 3 people in the mix. But yeah, so physique counters physique because some of the stats can counter themselves. Speed counters speed. Vision counters vision, because if you want to be like a blind spot spammer or something, somebody who really plays the vision, like people like Isagi or Naruhaya or Ren sometimes do, is you'll need to have better vision than them. Now you don't literally have to have the higher stat, but even if you have a lower stat, if you get a better roll on the dice, then boom, you can beat them and get into that blind spot. Once you're in that blind spot, you can stay in that blind spot for as long as you want to, but the only limitation to that is you have to actually move the character to continue keeping into that blind spot. You can't say I'm in their blind spot, but you're in front of their face. Like, that's just not how eyes work. That's that. Then we also have football IQ versus football IQ, which is for like things like feints and stuff like that. Anything feints, fake volleys, or anything of that sort where you're trying to trick somebody. Football IQ is what's going to determine whether that works or not. And then vertical versus vertical. Those are all of the stats that match with themselves. Then the special factors that we have involved is you have stamina versus uniqueness, because uniquenesses are going to be everyone's abilities, whether it's like metavision, predator eye, stealth kill shots, force foulings, anything. All those things are going to be abilities or techniques per se that the character is going to be able to use. So the way to limit that, to make it where you can't just spam all of your abilities. So that's how that's going to work. Now you can not double it if you want to have like a shorter game. Like say you want to have a game where it's like first to 1 goal, then you can just change that and you can just lower the stamina number or whatnot. But lower the stamina number where instead of doubling it, you just go with what it is. So instead of doubling the 7 to 14, you could just keep the 7. But other than that, you just in normal situations you would double that stamina. Now, let me see. The other last stat that we need to talk about is ego. Now, the way that ego works is, basically the higher your ego is, the better chance you have of being successful, because that's like a big thing in Blue Lock is your ego feeds your success. So the way that I've added that to the game is, simply put, whenever anything bad happens to you in the game, it boosts your ego. When your ego is boosted, you can use that boost to help you win plays. So basically, the way it adds to your ego is you get +1 for every unsuccessful interaction. You get +2 for every enemy goal. You get +3 if a goal is scored directly on you. For example, Isagi's back heel direct shot that he did versus Ren in the 4v4, that would be a +3 to his ego, to Ren's ego in that scenario. So what you want to do is every point over 10 that you have an ego, that will in turn be able to be used to add to your rolls. So if you lose a roll, but you don't want to lose the roll, you want to win it, you can and add those to your roll directly after you see the roll. So you don't have to waste points. You don't have to do it ahead of time or anything like that. No, if you see the roll, you got enough points to add to it, you can add those points to it, and boom, you have a successful interaction. With that being said, saving them is the best bet, though, at least in games that actually have like a decent amount of playing time. That's not really quick, short, bursty games. And the reason for that is because if you get to 20, you enter the flow state. Now, the flow state is really powerful in this game. Basically, what the flow state does, once you hit 20, you get into the flow state. You stay in the flow state for the rest of the game once you enter it. And the way it works is it is important to understand advantages and disadvantages. Something that I didn't explain earlier with uniquenesses, and this is something that only really happens when there's uniquenesses or when there's a flow state involved. But basically, if you have to roll with advantage, that means you roll 2 dice, or you do the RNG twice or whatever for your 1 through 6. You roll 2 dice, and if you have an advantage, then you pick the dice with the higher number. If you roll with disadvantage, then you roll 2 dice and you pick the dice with the lower number. But it makes it where you can, every action that you do will be in advantage, which is what makes it so powerful. And if you already have like a uniqueness active that gives you an advantage, then it'll make it where whoever you're targeting or whoever's targeting you on defense are now in disadvantage with their actions toward you specific. So it's really powerful. Not to mention, it also doubles your roll. So if you roll a 3, then it becomes a 6. Flow state is extremely powerful mechanic in this game. If I end up needing to nerf it over time, then I will. But as of right now, it's super strong and it's gonna be super crucial to winning those hardcore intense games. Now, with all those explained, I'll get into some bonus information, some stuff for little special tactics and all that stuff right now. And if you think this game is going to be fun, you think you're going to enjoy yourself, you think you might try it, you think you might tell other people to try it, if you think any of that, feel free to like this video, comment what your thoughts are, and subscribe and all that good stuff. But anyway, so the bonus information, we got long passes. Long passes are any passes that are 45 meters and longer. And basically the way they work is you have to have a minimum of at least 5 in your passing stat as a base to do these passes at all. You have to have at least a 5, otherwise you can't do a long pass. I feel like that was good. I mean, you got to be at least an average passer to try to do a long range pass with any kind of success. And then that's the only time the base matters. Now what I'm about to talk to next can include your roll. Every 5 meters past 45 meters, you have to have +1 point in your passing. So when you're trying to pass 50 meters, you need to have a 6. Doesn't have to be base. This is after your roll. You need that much after your roll. So if you have a 5 and you roll a 1, you can do a 50-meter pass. So that is how that works. And every 5 meters, you add +1 to how much you need or whatever. And, depending on how good the passer is, you might be able to pass really fucking far. Now, double teams and triple presses. If you have 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 defenders pushing the ball, then the dribbler will have to deal with all of their pressure. So you take the 2 or the 3, you add all of their pressure together, and that is how much pressure is being implemented onto the dribbler, which will stop them from dribbling if the combined totals is high enough. That's to make it where people like Botcher aren't like overpowered, because Botcher is a really strong character, but you gotta have ways to stop him at because it's not like he literally can just always dribble through entire teams, even though he can sometimes dribble through entire teams. But yeah, so that's that. And then let me see, we have loose balls and deflection. So this is also one of the bigger reasons why I wanted this, is because it adds another aspect of luck, because luck is big in Blue Lock, so I wanted it to be big in this game. So the way loose balls and deflections work, the 2 combatants that go at each other, if the difference in their numbers, like say somebody's passing and somebody's trying to steal, if the difference in the number between the 2 is 2 or less, then it turns into a loose ball because the ball was deflected. Now, the way we will calculate where this goes will be majorly RNG. So because it's going to be RNG, the way we're going to do this is the first direction is going to be set in stone. It's going to be guaranteed. And basically, if somebody's blocking from the front and and you shoot the ball forward, they block it from the front, it's going to go backwards. That is a guarantee. That's just, logic. But, unless it like skims or something, but like, that kind of thing rarely ever happens. So like, I mean, if I need to make something for that later on, then I will. But as of right now, it'll just go backwards. So with it going backwards, then whether it goes left or right, that'll be RNG. The way we'll do that is, the way you can do that is, it doesn't really matter. You can flip a coin. You can ask chatbot which direction should it go. I mean, ChatGPT, which direction should it go? I don't really care as long as you RNG it. Then whether it goes high or low, it's also RNG. So if it goes high, it'll be a vertical battle for trying to receive it. But if it goes low, that'll be more speed and physique, because if you got to get to the spot, then that's obviously going to be speed. But if two players are already in that spot, then it'll be physique when it comes to determining who's going to get in position and all that good stuff. It's real easy, but there's a lot of RNG in that. But hey, that's when it comes down to getting lucky. It's a lot of, because it's a lot of luck in blue lock. Last thing, long range shots. If you shoot a long range shot, a long range shot is any shot outside of the penalty box. Because I mean, like, shooting the penalty box is expected. That's a regular shot. But if you shoot outside of the penalty box, that's a long range shot. And the way that'll work is, if any shot outside of the penalty box has a -10 debuff to the shooting stat. And the way to counter that debuff is your physique stat. So the higher your physique, the lower the debuff. So if the debuff is always starts at 10. Say you have a 7 in physique, 10 minus 7, the debuff becomes -3 to whatever your shooting stat is. And if you have a straight up 10 in physique, then you don't get a debuff. You can just shoot from up to 30 meters. Because once you hit 31 meters, that's an auto miss. We're not trying to have people shooting from the other side of the field and no shit like that. Nothing crazy like that. That's that. That's everything you need to know. So now, if you want to play, then feel free to join the server. You can come to my server. You can challenge me, or you can challenge your friends. If you need any information, all that kinds of stuff. In my server, we have the rules. We have a doc for it where it explains it all out. It's not just me yapping about it, but it actually has all the information there. We got the tactical board link. We got some channels for the game. We have like everything you'll need in there, as well as we'll have all the docs for all of the players, so you can see what their stats are, you can see what their uniquenesses are, all that good stuff. I'm gonna be putting them in there as I finish them or whatnot, and I'll be making videos as I finish them as well. I finished a ton of them already. I just got to get these videos out for them. I might even just make shorts of them. Not 100% sure. But overall, that's what we're going to do. So feel free to, join and have some fun, if you want to get in on that. If you end up being really good at the game, you think you're really competitive at it, feel free to tell me. Like, if you and your friend have really close games, then I might even just record them and put a video of y'all two having fun and having y'all playing it, at the end of the day, I made this channel for two reasons. Because I wanted to yap about which characters are better than which characters are blue, and because I wanted to play this game. Because I watched a video by a YouTuber named Arrow Assassin where he was playing. He was making like he was doing draft battles with another YouTuber, and it looked fun. It looked like a fun idea, but I wanted to add more to it. So I was in a server where they were role playing out the games, and they were using tactical board for it. And I was like, combine those two things, and I combined the two. And me and my friend, we were playing this game, but we were playing the less serious version. We didn't have rules and all that kinds of stuff, so we were we ended our games in a lot of debating, and we didn't really come down to any kind of conclusion. But we had a whole lot of fun regardless. But I wanted to just make it more legit, so that's what I did. I sat down and do all this stuff together. So if you finished the video, feel free to put Taco Tuesday in the comment section, so I know you finished it. I always find it funny when people tell the commenters to put random stuff in the comment section. So feel free to go ahead and put Taco Tuesday down there. And if you got any comments, any thoughts, any kind of stuff like that, any ideas in your head you want to say about the game or about how you think it should be played or anything like that, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. And without further ado, it's your boy KingTank, and I'm out. Peace.